My name is Mark Pally, the Snake Hunter. This is the story about how last year I almost died from a tiger snake bite. At that time, my shop had shut down because of a rainstorm and my animals were flooded out. We were in my backyard with family and friends building a new animal place for them when I suddenly got a phone call from a lady who had a tiger snake in her front yard in Diamond Creek. When I attended the premises, it was a very large tiger snake, and at the time, two critical things happened at the same moment. One, my pinning stick broke, which I used to catch the snake, and two, this very large snake turned around and bit me right on the vein on my index finger. I knew there and then I was in serious trouble. I finished catching the snake and immediately called 000. I had a very difficult decision to make. I knew that the snake had bitten me directly on the vein. All the first aid guidelines state to stay still, wait for help to arrive, and bandage the affected limb. But I knew that the venom was traveling through my circulatory system very fast, and I knew I had only minutes to live. As a registered nurse, I made the executive decision to go home as quickly as possible because I lived only 2 minutes away, where I had 3 people who I knew could do CPR to keep me alive. As soon as I arrived home, I saw the shade of this tree. I laid down in this very spot and I looked up at the blue sky. My family and friends rushed around beside me.
So when I walked outside, I saw Dad laying on the ground and his arm was in a bandage. He looked like he was in a lot of pain and he was sweating and struggling to breathe. He was going in and out of consciousness, and then he suddenly stopped breathing, and we all did first aid till the ambulance arrived.
I was in the backyard helping with the reptile shed when Aisha told us that Mark was in the front yard and he'd been bitten by a snake. So when we turned up out the front, Mark was on the ground, heaving around, then he stopped breathing, his eyes glazed over and looked like he was dead.
I was at Mark's house helping him with his shed, and the next thing I heard and saw was his daughter saying that he was out the front having been bitten by a snake on the front yard. Went out to the front and we found Mark laying on his back, struggling to breathe. He was in a lot of pain and the ambulance had been called, were on their way. And as we were there watching, his eyes glazed over and he took his last breath and he passed away in front of all of us.